Hello party people, it is Will Pemble, and today we are in Wappingers Falls, New York, and we're going to go visit a Mercedes store here and check out some Sprinter vans. And I think we're going to get some really great information as we continue this kooky van life adventure. Let's get to it. This is Al.
Hey!
Man, you look great. Look at that green shirt.
My name is Al. I work for Mercedes-Benz of Wappingers Falls. I've been here for almost 2 years now.
We got a new 170 in today?
Yes, just came in like half hour ago.
Oh my golly. It's like still fresh. Oh, very sexy. Oh look, no
set wall paneling and no partition. I was like, that's
no
awesome.
partition. Oh my god, look at that. Woo. Bust this sucker open. Okay. Now does this have, yeah, that's got the 270 doors?
Yeah.
Okay, so they open partially and then you give them another shove and they open the rest of the way. Look at that, dude. This is fantastic. Leather non-powered seats. Dude, is this our truck? Could this be? Yeah. So this is like the super basic Sprinter here. Super basic radio. It's still got the awesome, what I think of as the Tesla steering wheel. But when you look at this, we see that it's got cruise control, but it doesn't have the adaptive cruise control. So that's kind of my big puzzle is how much do we care about adaptive cruise control and lane keeping, stuff like that. All right. Okay. So here is the underneath side of the Sprinter. Let's just bring this light with us so we can get a really close look at what it looks like underneath. All right. Here's the biggity fuel tank. And there's electrical. That's fuel, drive shaft. Yep. Here's Al. Differential. Yep. Fuel. Yep. Okay. Yep, so one of the things I'm hoping to do here, I'm just gonna run, just like to measure some things.
Okay.
Because like we're gonna, when you go and build the van, we need to put like water tanks and stuff like that underneath it. So where do they hang? How big are they? Right.
So what are you trying to figure out under here?
You know what?
My name is Gary. I'm a Sprinter technician at Mercedes-Benz of Wappingers Falls, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
I'm trying to figure out these things.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So one of the things that I want to do, and this might be like an on the ground thing. Well, talking about electrical, right? How many batteries does this car have?
Standard Sprinters, you're going to have one battery up in this box here.
Okay.
And then there is an optional second battery that would be up behind that wash fluid tank back up there, which does not look like you've got in this one.
All right, but it could be installed. You could add the second battery?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so, now why are there 2 batteries in this car and not 1?
So the second battery is usually added in highly optioned vans that have, you know, a higher requirement for power. This one being stripped out doesn't really have that, but you'll find, you know, electricians' trucks usually have inverters or plumbers and stuff like that, and they'll use that second battery as a stable source.
Now when you have a second battery, do you need a second alternator, or you don't?
No.
When you have a second battery and you also have a 600 amp hour lithium ion battery in the back, do you need a second alternator?
I would hazard a guess that you would want one. Whether or not it would be a necessity to get the thing to charge is beyond me.
Okay.
But I would think that you would want one.
In my travels, I've seen second alternator bracket as an option and all that stuff. So you can put one in this car. What's involved in installing that second alternator?
So you need to mount the alternator. You need a longer belt.
Okay.
Or potentially an add-on belt. Some of them have, some of them don't. You know, usually you're going to be on the side of this case here, depending on what kit you get. But beyond that, you need to run, you know, just the wiring to get you from the battery to the alternator, and you need whatever type of control mechanism you're going to have, be it a separation relay, be it maybe a computer to control the whole thing and integrate it for you, or a big, you know, switch that you can throw to turn it on and off. That depends on what kit you go with. If you go with a kit, maybe you design something yourself. That, you know, type of specifics really comes down to your application.
Okay, dig it. One of the things that we're going to plug into this car is a little diesel heater, a little furnace.
Yep.
That's going to require an auxiliary fuel line.
Correct. So in these vans, you'll see up here, they come pre-plumbed.
Oh my gosh.
There's a factory auxiliary heater that usually goes right here. Some vans have it. Most of them down here do not, because they are below where you're going to need all those cold weather accessories here in New York.
Sure.
But you're plumbed for it, and any reputable company that you're going to buy something from is probably going to tap right into that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we're going to use a Webasto, which is just a really amazing, awesome little, it's like a little furnace.
That's literally what they are, yeah.
I've seen ones that use gasoline, and that just freaks me out.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want anything that combustible in the cabin. Okay, so this is just as easy as it gets, and that's a standard thing on all the Sprinters, the 3500, the 2500?
It's not standard on all of them. It's part of an upgrade package that I'm sure Al would know the name of if he started looking for it.
Oh, okay.
But it is a standard option on them. Some of them come from the factory with it.
Okay, so you don't have to, good golly, that's just like as easy as it gets.
Yep.
And then, so you just plumb it in, and then you would just follow your nose in terms of running fuel lines, and it's kind of...
Yeah, like I said, most of them are up here. Sometimes you'll see a little extra exhaust tube hanging down. This tends to be the area that they centralize.
That's where they would put it, and so the furnace would be outside.
That would be the factory one. I'm not sure what kit the kit that you're going to use looks like, but you know, if you were going to go with a Mercedes factory part, that's where you would find it.
Cool. Yeah, we're not doing this. This is all going to be highly bespoke stuff. Okay, so then the next thing that we want to do under here is we're going to put in, there's going to be a freshwater tank inside the van, and then there'll be what they call gray water tanks outside. And so where, if you were hanging and it's going to be like it'll end up probably 2 25-gallon or a 40-gallon.
So there are 2 typical setups we see on motorhomes for gray water tanks.
Okay.
Sometimes you've got the big AdBlue reductant tank that's up here, and at that point you'll see the gray water tanks hanging right in this gap back here.
Okay.
But in this van, you've got such a big space because you've got the tank up front. This would be right where I would shoot for it, something big like that. Okay. And when you're looking at the exhaust pipe, how far away from the exhaust pipe do you want to stay before you start to worry about? Well, you know, realistically, if you've got an AdBlue tank back here, it's coming right up to the ragged edge here, and it's got some tin heat shielding right on the side of it. Okay. What your tank will be able to withstand, I don't know. Okay. I don't know the tank itself. I don't know what you're going to use. Sure. But I would think that best practice would be to hang it, you know, on the inside of here and just shield it from the exhaust. And shield. Okay, so we would follow the
heat shielding example in every opportunity.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is there any? So we're underneath a 2500.
Yes.
Right now. Al has found me a beautiful 3500, the
Single wheel 3500.
Dude saved me because I was thinking the dually, and he's like, "So do you like the Taconic Parkway?" I'm like, I do.
That's the right question.
I was like,
Sure.
yeah, good point. So anyway, so we're gonna get like the 3500. Are there any major differences between this one and that one?
The major differences are going to be in the actual running gear, in the rear end here. The brakes are going to look a little bit different, and your leaf springs and shocks are going to be heavier to compensate.
They're going to be beefier.
But if you put the two of them up next to one another and you didn't know the difference, you probably would not be able to tell.
Okay. So in terms of spacing and putting, hanging tanks and all that sort of stuff, very little.
Yeah, what you see here is what you get from the 15 on up to the 3500.
So this is a 2020. They changed the model. They changed the body style and a bunch of stuff in 2019.
Correct.
What are your favorite changes between the 18 and the 19?
So my favorite changes down here, we're looking relatively similar. A few upgrades in hardware and stuff like that to make it just a better package. But my favorite part about the upgrade is the way that they drive. They've got more of an E-Class feel than a Dodge pickup feel to them at this point. And the media system, if you get the touchscreen and everything, is really, really cool.
Pretty fancy.
It's not something you're going to see in most work trucks.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, that's one of the things that when we're my other car's a Tesla.
Yeah.
I like that it drives itself. That makes me very happy. And so I was like, whenever I start looking at any vehicle, my first thing is like, okay, so how close to autopilot can I get?
Yeah.
Tell me, because this one it's got like lane keeping and I think Distronic is
correct.
adaptive cruise control.
Yep.
Tell me have you driven one of those?
I've driven a Tesla briefly.
Okay.
I've driven some of the more automated S-classes and E-classes. So this thing's not going to pilot itself. What it's got in place is a set of warnings that are going to let you know, hey, I don't like where you're going for one reason or another.
Okay.
And it's going to alert you that you need to make that input. But at this point, it's not going to be making the inputs for you.
Okay, so it's not going to actively.
No, it can
It'll goose you a little bit.
Look at what you're doing, and it can help you with that, but it's never going to take over for you.
So, much better drive, much better feel on the road.
Yep.
What do you miss from the 18 to the 19?
I don't know that there's anything I would be left wanting from the old to the new. It's a really good comprehensive upgrade, and it took the truck from good to really good. Good
to awesome. Yeah. Cool. Sweet. Nice. This might be an on the ground question, but one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to put I'm going to put a heat exchanger into the glycol, the cooling system, and so there'll be a little heat exchanger, and then we're going to run fresh water through a separate loop to the cooling system. But we'll have a freshwater reservoir back here, and then we'll run that back, and that's going to go into a marine water heater.
Okay.
So the marine water heater heats in two ways. Everything is redundant, right? So it's got 120 volts AC, which will come off the big battery, which will come off the inverter, which will come off the big battery. And then also we can circulate that hot water from the heat exchanger. So if you're going to find basically like a 6-inch section of coolant tubing for that heat exchanger, right? And so you just, it's a radiator, a backwards radiator. Where are you gonna look to plug in your heat exchanger?
So in these vans, I think the simplest thing would be to make yourself something that can fit right in there. Up top as well, I don't know if you can see the upper hose from here. You've got a nice straight run from there. So if you don't mind plumbing down and through here, you could follow, either along the inside here or along the inside there, and try and keep everything tucked close to the frame.
Yeah, because we'll have to get the heat exchanger in line, and then we'll have to run probably 3/4 or maybe 1 inch hose back So how would you get the 1-inch hose back?
So what they usually wind up doing, you know, if you see in up there, there's a pretty straight shot coming back through here. I would just try and tuck up as close to those brake lines as you can.
Okay.
You could come through behind the battery over here and just run your way on back.
And then just on the outboard side of the fuel tank, or?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you've got all these nice little provisions up here that you can put clips in, you can put screws in, you can do all sorts of stuff without drilling any holes or doing anything crazy there.
Yeah, so clips and riv nuts and all that, all that hootenanny. Okay, so that, I always find myself in trouble when I start asking questions like, what could possibly go wrong? How hard could it be? But like when you explain this to me and I get underneath the van and it's a clean, beautiful, crisp, fresh one, looking at it underneath here, I'm not horrified because I'm, you know, I'm not an automotive guy. I'm an engineer, but I'm not
It is, you know,
a mechanic.
Mechanically, as far as moving parts and stuff go, it's not a tremendously complicated truck.
Yeah, dude, this is awesome. Gary, thank you, my brother. I'm really grateful for the time. I couldn't ask for a better lesson, right? I was just like, I was hoping Al, you know, has been so awesome. I told Al the story. I live in Connecticut, and I've started looking at vans months ago. When we also have a little place in California, and so I started looking at, you know, like, so I've been to a couple places in California, talking to folks and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Al is the first Mercedes guy that I've talked to that'll like even bother with me, right? And
I'm very surprised to hear
I
that.
feel like I'm a convincing customer.
Yeah.
And but it's like, you know, it's like, hey, I need this and this and this. And so anyway, I'm like so happy to find Mercedes-Benz of Wappingers Falls, because you guys are freaking awesome. You've got all the cool Mercedes stuff, and then that crazy builder spirit.
If you ever have any questions, you can feel free to reach out and we can...
Oh, cool. Yeah, I will come by with... Al already knows. I'm the king of the stupid question. I'm just like, oh, but this is really exciting. I cannot wait to get started with this thing.
Hey, can't wait to see it.
Yeah. For me, the best news is that little
That's plumbed in there, yeah.
that little fuel nub there.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some
Some sketchy stuff up there.